Hello everyone, welcome to Desert Succulent. Today we're gonna be featuring Echeveria Jocelyn's Joy, and it's one of those succulents na considered as a big size succulent. Kaya if you are someone na gusto magkaroon ng fast growing succulent and at the same time malaki yung kanyang pinaka-rosette once it grows, then this gonna be a perfect succulent for you. The color of its leaves will be silvery gray in color, and since it's coated with this thick layer of farina, it gives this succulent that kind of matte look. Yung kanyang leaf margins would be whitish in color and at the same time it's gonna be pinkish. It would not depend on how stressed yung inyong Jocelyn's Joy, and at the center, sa pinaka-tip ng kanyang leaves, you will be having this kind of parang claw type na tip. And at the same time, if we're gonna be checking the edges of its leaves, you would notice na irregular yung kanyang shape. May pagka-wrinkled yung kanyang mga leaves, but pag malayuan, you won't easily recognize it unless you're gonna be having an up-close nung kanyang leaves. Ayan, ganyan yung kanyang itsura. In time, our Jocelyn's Joy will also be giving us some flowers. Kumbaga, yung blooming cycle niya is already built in, and if you'll be giving it the right conditions, like for example, yung kanyang light, intensity, yung ating watering, and yung kanyang soil is also good, then once it gets old enough, it will be giving us a flower stalk that would emerge now from the center of the plant. We have to remember that this kind of succulent grows naturally in warm climates with lots of sun, and they are perfect here in the Philippines since they are adapted to that kind of warm and bright na environment. Although we have to remember that even if na our Jocelyn's Joy prefer yung ating bright light, putting them directly sa ating full sun, especially during our dry season or the hot summer months, it could stress them literally. Possibly na masunburn sila if we will not expose them to the full sun gradually. It's all about us exposing them to the morning sun, for example, for a few hours for the first week. Then for the second week, it's gonna be longer until that time has come na it can tolerate nga yung ating all day long na sun exposure. Kasi once na nakapag-adjust na nga yung ating succulent sa ating full sun or rain or shine area, if we're gonna be putting them there, then you won't be having any problem with this succulent in the future. And like what I have mentioned earlier, one of the best things about giving them yung ating full sunlight is this one. You can see that in some parts, may pagka-pinkish yung kanyang leaf margin, something that I'm always looking forward to, especially if it's constantly exposed to the full sun. Watering this one would now depend according to the temperature. Syempre, pag masyado namang mainit ang panahon, then we have to frequently water them. Or pag, for example, rainy days or colder nga yung ating weather, then we have to water them less often. Usually, I water them every 2 weeks. That's my standard interval for all of my succulents, including my Jocelyn's Joy. If nakalagay sila sa ating rain or shine na area, then definitely you have to check on them from time to time. Ayaw natin na ma-overwater yung ating Jocelyn's Joy, especially these days na it's already the rainy season. It's almost 5 days in a week kung umulan dito nga sa ating area, and that is okay as long as well-draining nga yung ating soil mix. Yung pag-ulan kasi dito is just a typical thunderstorm. It would last for 30 minutes up to 1 hour to 2 hours. Then after that one, yung ating succulent has time to dry nga yung ating pinaka-soil overnight, and the next day, syempre umaaraw, it's gonna be sunny day, and it would also help na mag-dry again yung ating pinaka-soil. The only disadvantage if nakalagay nga siya sa ating rain or shine area is that pag umulan, literally, it would strip off yung ating mga farina. It's supposed to be like this if intact yung kanyang farina, and those brownish na nakikita nyo sa kanyang leaves are those areas na na-strip off yung kanyang farina, and hindi siya masyadong magandang tignan. And that is something that you need to consider kasi pag nasa rain or shine area sila, pag umulan, slowly, it can strip off a part of its farina. So, as a general rule, we have to water only yung kanyang pinaka-soil when it's completely dry, and pag completely dry na nga siya, then we have to fully soak it, and that's what we call yung ating soak and dry na method. Moreover, yung ating soil mix is also very important. We always keep on saying na dapat well-draining yung ating soil mix na gagamitin sa kanya, kasi if it's not, then it's gonna be prone sa ating root rot, which is the common cause of death ng ating mga succulents. Usually, if nakalagay pa sila dito sa kanilang original na nursery plastic na pot, then definitely yung kanilang soil could possibly be well draining or possibly na hindi rin sila well draining. It will not depend kung saan sila galing. Sometimes kasi, if we are growing our succulents, yung soil mix na ginagamit namin would now depend on what is available dito sa ating area. So it could be just a typical garden soil, sometimes it's gonna be clay soil, depende yan kung saan galing yung inyong mga succulents. Kaya that is something that you need to consider sometimes. If you're gonna be repotting your succulent, you have the option of removing completely yung kanyang soil, especially if hindi siya well draining. Or if you think na well draining and healthy naman yung inyong mga succulent, then you can just literally repot it doon sa kanyang soil mix. So for example, this one, medyo moist pa yung kanyang soil since it's been raining here for the last couple of days, but that's completely okay. I have prepared here soil mix. This one is yung ating typical na loam soil na nabibili sa ating garden shops. It has vermicompost in it as its organic na fertilizer. So I will just simply repot itong ating Jocelyn's Joy dito nga sa kanyang new pot. Ayan, ganyan lang. We will just try to push it downwards para mas makompress pa siya lalo. And itong mga empty spaces na yan, we will just be adding more na soil mix. Even if we didn't remove yung kanyang pinaka-old soil, we are adding yung ating fresh na soil mix sa pinaka-bottom na part, including itong ating mga side na area. And eventually, this would be its new source of nutrients. This is not the ideal way of repotting, pero it's one of the most effective way of repotting if you wanted to ensure na talagang hindi masisira or 100% na mabubuhay yung inyong mga succulent. Kasi if we will be removing yung kanyang old soil and trim yung kanyang roots, then there is a possibility na hindi mag-survive yung inyong succulent once you repot it already. So 50-50% na chance. Unlike if ganito, you are assured na talagang mabubuhay yung inyong succulents. Propagating them is not a big problem. We can do yung ating stem cuttings, leaf cuttings, or beheading. Pupugutan natin yung ating Jocelyn's Joy. For example, tanggalin natin itong mga big na leaves niya. Again, dapat ganito yung pinaka-tip na shape ng inyong leaf cuttings para maging successful. And let's try to remove more. Ayan. So you have to do it gently para hindi masira or may maiwan na part ng leaf sa ating stem. And of course, since this one is an Echeveria, it's very prone to some pest infestations, lalong-lalo na yung ating mga mealybugs. You have to check yung kanyang pinaka-rosette or in between nung kanyang leaves kasi dyan sila madalas na tumatambay, lalo na pag nababasa yung kanyang pinaka-rosettes. That's a perfect na breeding ground for them. You can also try to apply some fungicides on them every 3 to 4 months to prevent nga yung ating future fungal attacks. And that's all for our Jocelyn's Joy. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You may also visit our Facebook page at Desert Succulent PH.